House of Commons, we meet Tah Mai Jarvis. You're welcome back. If you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons. Here in the studio, we have our panelists whom we are going to talk about our topic today. Today, we are looking at the aspect of the anglophone crisis, the execution that has been ravaging on. Just this morning, I was told of what happened in Bombay, Bakundu, where a certain Valentine in Bombay, Bakundu was killed by the separatist fighters under the guise that he's a black leg. He was killed just 2 days ago. That under the guise that he's a black leg. And also we're also told that the other side also got somebody killed in Bombay, Bakundu under the guise that he's working with the people. In fact, he's a spy working with the voices. And so how many more people will have to die? In Guzang, 2 persons, I'm sure you must have watched the video, were publicly executed in a horrified manner under the guise of black leg. And we have a lot of people who have been held incommunicado, whose family don't know where they are, by those who ought to protect them under the guise of black leg. One thing we must know is that we are not in a state of emergency, and so the laws must be respected. The laws of the country must be respected in toto. And to that, we are talking about fair hearing and equal opportunity to listen to and due process. And when we see what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest region, we ask the question, where there is a place of fair hearing and the respect of the Constitution and law of the land. Nji Lucas is here with us. He is someone that also look at constitutional issues and have a mindset about the protection of lives and property and human rights. And he's an advocate of human rights and freedom. And Nji Lucas is all the way from Mai 16, one of the hardest hit area in the Northwest and Southwest region, and oftentimes has been quantified by the belligerent as either being one of those. But he stands for the fact that the Constitution of the country must be respected, and no one is supposed to be below the law, and no one is supposed to be above the law. Happy Sunday, Nji Lucas.
Happy Sunday, Tah Mai Jarvis, and happy Sunday to the televiewers and keen persons who have decided to contribute towards nation building. All what I am doing is building the nation in line with the Constitution and the laws of the land, which is very important because these are the 2 major documents you have to. The Constitution supersedes every other law which is made below it, and that which we respect is the Constitution. The Constitution of Cameroon talks about human right, which is part of the Constitution, and you look at that within the preamble of the Cameroon Constitution. Now, this is it. If we go back to several conventions signed, if we were to take the 1949 Geneva Convention, which Cameroon is a member of the United Nations and as a signatory to all these conventions, and to look at the Rome Statute that defines what constitutes war crimes. I will be talking about who has what responsibility and why we should give that responsibility to that person. And I'll also be looking at how do you manage yourself in the course of a conflict as an armless citizen. The killings of these citizens, armless people, is not something that we should put under the carpet. This is the time for us to look at evil and say it the way it is, as we have been doing. We shall look at the role the citizens have to play in a conflict, and who is not a fighter in a conflict and who is a fighter in a conflict, and what happens to who and at what point, and who has what responsibility to do what and at what time should such responsibility be taken effectively.
Thank you very much. Also, we are joined by a civil society advocate who is someone also that has been firm on the fact that we must also do things in conformity with what is is laid down by our different houses of parliament. That is, whatever is agreed upon must be respected in total. He is Derick. Derick, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Jarvis, and hello to the people of the Northwest and Southwest region, especially to the people of Boyo Division, who have been hit by this crisis, and of course to the million listeners of House of Commons. It's just another opportunity to share our worries, our heartfelt condolences to those who are executed and paying the price for what they don't know, either by one camp or the other. We feel pity, and it is sad and sacrilege that lives that we are supposed to protect, humans that we are supposed to protect, people with a sane mind will take lives without thinking twice. It's really sad, and our hearts felt condolences goes to the families that are affected by this crisis caused by a senseless war that should have been avoided from the start.
Also, we are joined by someone from Guzang, who is also a regular here with us, and we're talking about the issue that happened in Guzang. Someone who also mastered the terrain very well, and a son from that locality. He's no other person than Tebong. Tebong, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tah Mai Jarvis. I want to send a special salute to the people of Guzang, who are mourning since the brutal assassination of their two brothers. That was at the market square. I'm equally saluting Derick and as well as Nji Lucas here in the studio. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning to all of to you too. I want to, before we start the program, I want to wish a special happy birthday to these persons who celebrated their birthday, who are celebrating their birthday. I'm talking about Cindy, Yendong Cindy. Happy birthday to you, Yendong Cindy, and many more years. May the good God continue to bless you. As Cindy, you are celebrating your birthday in this month of October. And also, I want to wish you happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Ingrid. Happy birthday to you, Loic. Happy birthday to you, Lois from the Cora Negro. Happy birthday to the three of you, Ingrid. Happy birthday to you, Loic. Of course, happy birthday to you, Lois. Lord, may the good God continue to protect you guys as you sing in the Lord's vineyard to win more souls for Christ. And we hope that God, in His infinite mercy, will also continue to shower His mercy upon you. And all those of our viewers who are celebrating their birthday this period of October, I want to seize this opportunity to say happy birthday to you. We are diving straight to the topic of today. You can participate in the course of the program by sending us an SMS or text message or WhatsApp message on the number you see on your screen. We are talking about the killing of the rampant killing, anyway, with this case in Guzang, the rampant killing of persons, unarmed civilians, under the guise of black leg. Is this the anglophone problem? The anglophone problem is the killing of all these persons, the anglophone problem. I begin with you at Tebong, who have an understanding as to what happened in Guzang. Can you just paint us a picture? It was a horrible video to watch to those who could muster the courage to watch live execution, and yet we keep saying that they are there for the people.
Yes. That is what we often hear, maybe on social media. You hear people say we are fighting for the people, but day in, day out, we see people being assassinated, we see people being killed by the same people whom are moving and doing propaganda that they are protecting them. It was in Guzang. That was Wednesday at about 4:30 p.m. Local time, when these two persons, aged 46 and 47, brothers and sons of the soil, were pulled out. One was pulled out from his home in Guzang, taken to the market square, while the other was at the market square. They gather the population. Normally, Guzang Market Square is just like my 17 as well as my 16, where people would normally gather on daily basis to do their business.
Yes.
It was a normal busy day, business day. People were drinking, others were buying and selling. So when they pull out the population and the people who have been for the past 7 years say that they are protecting their peers, gather people, and the only thing we could got from the video is that when I go see wait where it go pass for year. They could not even allow this our brothers to explain. There's one thing that has made people to be very angry. You know, even the court of law, before a judgment is passed, I know there's a jury here, there's a jurist here. Before a judgment is passed, the judge will obviously ask the accused to talk, but they didn't ask these our brothers to say a word, and the population did not know that the Ambazonia fighters were to execute their peers, their brothers. They wouldn't have even come out, because if you were the one, you would not come out to see how men are being executed by firing squad at the public square. Since then, I've not been myself. The entire village is cold. The phone who is in Yaoundé is speechless. He's his direct younger brother. And the other petit businessman has been in the village. He's a direct younger brother of the phone.
Now, you made a statement that the phone who is in Yaoundé. Was the phone on an official visit, or he has been in Yaoundé for a while?
I will not say.
I know you are not the spokesperson.
I will not say.
I'm saying as someone in Guzang.
In reality, phones. He's a teacher. He just retired from government, from the state. He has been a teacher, a principal, and he's just retired. He goes to Yaoundé on visit. He stays in the village and stays in Yaoundé. He stays in Bamenda. His father was living, his house is in Bamenda. He himself has lived in the village and out of the village. So, but all of his family members, including his younger brother who was assassinated, was in the village. Since the start of the crisis, he has been there. The two persons, all of them have been in the village. And to gather the population, I want to say it here, to gather the population, and you do not even listen to them. Even sometimes I want to say something. When the military, when they arrest you without arms, without you hesitating, they take you to the cell, to their custody. They ask you questions. But you take somebody in the name of you are fighting to protect them, you are fighting to have a nation. You take armless civilians, people who don't have guns, they did not hesitate. You took the other one, put on the bike, you came there. You took the other friend, you put on the ground, you did not allow them to talk. You gather people, including his own children. He was there and his children were also there, because the palace is not far from the market square. It was a normal business day or normal nice day in the village. So Jarvis, to answer your question, I will say my voice is not coming out today because since that day right up to now, there's nobody in the village that has been fine. They are not happy at all. They are not happy not because their brothers were killed, but just the fact that they did not even allow their own brothers to say a word, just because they gathered the population to humiliate the people of Guzang. They have humiliated us. They have made us to understand that they are fighting to kill the people, they are not fighting to protect the people.
Okay.
Because if they were protecting the people, they wouldn't have called the people of Guzang to assassinate their peers. I think it is a very bad thing.
Ms. Nji, but how did we get to this level? Is it not a copy and paste of a system that they too have been watching? Because we see display of bodies of the fighters at Major Square, when Field Marshal was killed, all those who, it's like trophy. Is it not maybe, how did we get to this level of man's inhumanity to man?
Yeah. Let me say that during conflict, especially such nature of conflict, what usually happens is that it has to do with the mind. They try to play with the mind to ensure that the civilian population should have certain things as a deterrent. I want to pause for a moment before I continue on this to openly condemn what happened in Guzang. In fact, these are all war crimes. I think it should be about 5 days now, one of the colonels who was supposed to protect the people in DRC Congo,
yes,
was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Because when the people stood up and said they do not want the UN security forces anymore, the peacekeepers anymore, unarmed civilians were killed.
You are about more than 23.
That's right. And he was judged and sentenced to death. Yeah. So this is a war crime. I think if you look at the 1977 Geneva Convention, if you look at the Rome Statutes, if you go back to 1949, these conventions, these statutes, or these charters, you understand one thing in it. The International Court of Justice, or the International Criminal Court, says where the state cannot administer justice perpetrated by someone, this is when the court comes in. So the situation that happened in Congo, it's a square peg in a square hole. It's correct. They judged these people. It's a similar reason why Omar el-Bashir was judged in Khartoum, in Sudan. Now, coming to Cameroon, what we need to know is, we have seen in different cases, of course, we should not forget that we will not be comparing things here, but we will be educating the people to see and understand what is happening, because they reserve the right to this information, and we have to ensure that they enjoy it. We have seen cases where the SSF, the State Security Forces, have killed several persons. They will ferry them, they will airlift them.
You are talking about the armed fighters?
Yes, the separatist fighters. They will kill the separatist fighters, airlift them from one division to another, bring them to a market square, and then present it to the people. Now, the purpose for this in war times is that if you are a civilian, if you are someone who is cooperating with the separatists, this should serve to you as a deterrent. You should know that this is where you will end. You should know that this is what will happen to you. Now, the non-state armed groups, prior to this stage, watched these things and they are adopting it, which is very sad. I want to say that two wrongs have never made a right. The last time I did see this, where someone was openly killed, was when the Taliban took over Afghanistan from the hands of NATO forces and America, where some persons who cooperated with the Americans and NATO forces were brought to certain squares, and they brought out the Quran and they made certain prayers and they killed them on the same spot. And to the eyes, to the watching of everyone who was forced to come to that same square. It's the same thing we did see a few days ago in Guzang, where these people, some of these people, as he is saying, some came out thinking that there was going to be some ear to understand perhaps why these people did what they did. Of course, it shouldn't be forgot. We should not mix these things. Now, these persons were only being accused for cooperating with the battalion or rapid intervention battalions, or known as the B, and this is their crime. And the people thought that their crime should have only one thing, and their crime should mean death. Yes, like I said, that I will be talking and I will be also letting the people understand exactly what it is. How do you manage yourself in times like this? Because we have the responsibility as a human rights defender, as a civil society actor. I see the civil society as the harmless person, the one who does not have arms. And the one who doesn't have arms needs to understand in times of crisis, in times of war, what you have to do, because you easily get manipulated if you do not know what to do. For example, we have a particular person who is responsible for the security of the people. What we call collective security has often been trumpeted by some failed politicians, because success in politics is when that which you say you want to do for the people and that which the electorate want is given to them, then you must have succeeded in politics. You fail in politics when the people do not have that which they deserve, and that which you have said you aren't doing it. These are all failed politicians. And I'm saying so because it is widely being trumpeted, and they are flagging some people red for not cooperating. But I want to say that the onus to protect the people lies in one man's hand: the government. The government. Until when we understand these things, then we will know exactly what to say. Whenever I talk about this lies on the government, a lot of people see it, though especially proponents of bad governance, they see it to mean that you are telling the people not to cooperate with the state forces. It is different from cooperating with the state forces. Of course, what we have to accept is, in times of investigations, like we see certain raids like that which was conducted in Moya, where violations of human rights constituted it also had a lot to do with the people's rights that were violated, because we did see minors also that were brought out from their houses, forced to sit on the floor and on the ground. All these things, they are totally against that which we have signed up for. So when you look at these things, for example, there is only one person. Now, you could call someone for questioning, you could call someone for an investigation to understand what is happening. But where you want to make this person taking part in a conflict, the eminent thing in it is that person will either pay for it by your opponent, or the person will be appreciated by you. And at the end of the day, this is why I said I'll come back so we look at these things.
Okay.
We are going to dissect what are they doing, what are the different war crimes being committed, because as we speak, for those who thought it is only what they call our socio-political crisis, as I've been saying, that failed politicians without any political will to build the country do not see this to mean anything to them. And of course, we should not forget that in a conflict, only those who have the legal mandate can call the conflict to an end. I'll come back.
Good afternoon to you all in the studio. The man from Guzang should be objective in his narration. He claimed that the military doesn't kill people arbitrarily, which is a lie. I condemn the killing on Guzang. I did not hear him talking about the fact that the military doesn't kill people. Did not hear him saying that. Good afternoon to you people in the studio. I want to use this opportunity to thank you always for speaking it loud for the public. What happened in Guzang, I am speechless. The people have been suffering. They keep saying they are fighting for their people, but keep killing them. Where are we heading to now? May their soul continue to rest in peace. I am Fonyi Alex, writing from Douala Bonaberry. This other one reads, it says, happy Sunday to you all in the studio, my country people. Them just want to send my condolences to the Berry family at Guzang. I am Kalistus Obasi from Boya. This other one reads, it says, it is so unfortunate when we see such video. In fact, anglophones are now being mocked as people who don't even reason anymore. The Constitution of Cameroon talk about fair hearing, but we must remember those voices do not regard themselves as Cameroonians. It is a pity we have to say rest in peace every week to our own. Thank you very much. Song Derick. I'm sure you must have watched the video, and I'm also sure that maybe you are not aware of this. That video happened just this week, ending this week, but just some few days ago we had a similar situation in Bombe Bakundu. In Bombe Bakundu, where Valentine, a certain name Valentine, somebody I know so well, was killed also by separatist fighters under the allegation that he is a black leg. He was shot dead, and along the Kumbamanfe road, another person was killed. I think it should be about 2 under the guise of being blackleg. And it's same still in Bombay Bakundu, a civilian who works his normal day-to-day job was also killed under the guise that is cooperating with the voices, which if we still put it is blackleg. So at the end of the day, where do we go from here in a conflict where we're told that it's almost over?
Thank you very much, Jarvis. It's a very, very, very sad situation, we must say, when liberators become predators and terminators. The population linger and do not know where to lean. That is the problem, and that is the issue that we are facing. If you pick up a gun to fight to protect me, and after that you turn the gun back to the house, you are telling me that there was no reason to rise up to fight. That is the painful thing. To gather a population, to gather a people, and bring out some suspects, so to say, executed them in public, is desecration of human rights and abuse of the very essence of you living. Jarvis, I must say, without mincing words, that I watched that video with pains in my eyes, tears, to think that someone who has come to liberate me is now not only imprisoning me, but imprisoning me with death. That was so painful and a very difficult thing to bear. Because there's one thing that is certain. If there is one reason for conflict in Cameroon, it is a conflict between the common law and the civil law.
Yeah.
One who states that you are innocent until proven guilty, and the other who says you are guilty until proven innocent. So after the fighting, the question is, which laws are we going to operate under? If someone who is caught, no evidence proven, no point to speak, and the person is executed in front of the loved ones, it's a painful thing, and we must condemn. No, people, it was in the view of onlookers. Not only did it end there, it's circulating over social media. We have heard the condemnation from the fund of Guzang. He wrote from Yaoundé. We have heard from Barrister Akere Muna. He wrote to condemn the act. But after all this said, Mr. Jarvis, the song of condemnation comes up every day. Few days ago, or that was few months ago, last month, we were in this studio to condemn the killing in Bamenda, Nancho Junction.
Yeah, the Nyancho killing.
And people say that it was the worst thing that ever happened. Today,
having the worst.
We are saying that the killing in Guzang is the worst thing that has happened. When Baby Mata was killed,
we said the worst.
It was the worst thing that happened.
The Valentine's Day massacre.
When Sam Sawyer was beheaded, it was the worst thing that happened. When the Ngaribu incident happened on the 14th, it was the worst thing that ever happened.
The Kumba massacre.
When the Indian delegates were kidnapped, it was the worst that happened.
When Flora
Ayafo was beheaded, it was the worst thing that happened. When the Indian Sikhs were kidnapped and taken for ransom and taken and killed and buried, it was the worst thing that ever happened.
The invasion in Tiango killing.
Of course. Jarvis, this is a sad story. When killing occurs in Cameroon, we condemn. When accident occurs, we ban the traveling agency. And when assassinations occur, we open investigations that never ends. Where are we going to? 7 years after condemnation, are we not coming to our senses to know that condemnation without action will not solve the problem? Because tomorrow another thing is going to happen and people are going to say it is the worst. The Guzang incident, separatists committed it to the view of everybody until some groups are claiming and others are applauding that your own brother that you are fighting to liberate, you are killing. But Jarvis, I will tell you that this ping pong game we are playing will not help anybody, because the Ngarbu incident was blamed on petrol explosion. And later on, when the Human Rights Watch brought in evidence and satellite images, those who were responsible reluctantly accepted. When the baby in Boya was shot going to school, when she was shot going to school, it was another sad incident. The one in Bamenda that provoked Abdul Karim to march in between cannons. It was a very, today he is in prison, no court hearing, nothing is said. Jarvis, I must say, without mincing word, that assassination, that killing, that open shooting in Guzang was a sacrilege committed by a people. It was more like the Amazonian fighters shooting themselves in the leg. Because those people who watched and shouted, and then you saw them running, and then the pain, you don't know how many people have died.
Because not anybody can even withstand.
Of course,
because
can withstand that. I know people who cannot even look at the video. They cannot. It affects them. And to say this, Jarvis, that video is making rounds because that is what we have seen.
Yes.
There are others that have been done without videos, be it done by the separatists or by the military. There are actions like that that have been done. The only difference is that there was no video to circulate to attract public condemnation like this one, which I know that after this week we will condemn another new case, which is going to be certainly the worst.
Tebong, but let me just before I come to you, we have those who are viewing us from the different from our Facebook page. Let's just check some messages. Aqua Rigobert say watching live from Obang Valley Northwest. We have also Robinson Noho, who is also watching on Facebook. He say very true, Mr. Lucas. Our security is paramount. Stay safe, stay alive. Our heart goes to the family. Fedin Bill says greetings from Berlin, Germany. El Hadi Dangote says greetings from Bafmeng. I am Yakubu, and this other one right is a poet. So greetings to you, brother Jarvis, and all panelists. Everyone is looking for peace, but no one is willing to understand each other. Without understanding each other, there will never be peace. Understanding means talking to each other and reaching an agreement. This other one right, it says. Gideon says, Mr. Jarvis, how can the laws be respected when injustice has become the law? This one right, he says, Ventinary, greetings, Mr. Jarvis. I'll come now back to you, Christian Tebong. Now, we are talking about, Derick painted a very good picture, that we keep having the worst, the worst, the worst. And anytime it occurs, we say, this is the worst. We keep condemning. From 7 years now, I've been singing the song of condemnation, that we condemn, and people make money out of this condemnation. When events happen like this, we have the lobbyists who say, no, give us money, we'll go and solve the situation. We have the NGOs who pretend to go and cry and having cry at the different centers, and nothing is done, because we saw that when the St. Francis massacre was committed in Kumba, we saw the task force crying left and right. At the end of the day in Kumba, I saw how money changed hands within the women that were crying. And at the end of the day, we ask ourselves, how genuine are we to solve this crisis? My question now to you, after the long literature I just made mention, is that these guys who have committed this act, if they go back tomorrow at the DDR center as we speak to drop their weapons, should they face justice, or should just be granted DDR amnesty? Should the DDR amnesty just open their arms?
You know my answer before you ask that question. You know, since the creation, Jarvis, since the creation of DDR, I have never been in support of such a center. We know that we must forgive people we must extend olive branches to people who might have wronged us in one way or the other. But what I'm saying is that the Cameroon government needs to follow the steps of conflict resolution. You know, that is your brand of study. And I believe that what they are doing is more of provocation, because you just ask a question: if these guys rush to the DDR, the government will accept them. But do you think that the people of Guzang will forgive them? That is a question that still is still unanswered. Do you think that the family of the two men who were assassinated will forgive them? I want to give you this information. Remember that Prince Banyamsung Hansel Nji has 5 children, has a wife.
The man that was killed in Guzang?
Yes, the two that were killed.
Yes.
You will know that Abrocletus has 3 children. So you see, the multiplying effect of the killing is enormous. You see, the venue of the assassination will keep ringing the bell of the people, in the heads of the people of Guzang. You see, the families will keep thinking of it. So coming to your questions about the question about,
yes, if these guys just get up tomorrow and say, okay, we are sorry for what we did, they drop their arms, this DDR center, should they welcome them?
To the DDR center, the people who created the DDR center, they alone know the motive behind the creation of the DDR center. But for me as a Cameroonian, and for someone like me, I've lived in the I left the Northwest region just few years ago. When this crisis started, I was there. I've witnessed the evolution of this crisis. We follow this crisis from one step to the other, from the teacher strike that turned into the people marching to the various fondoms to tell the government that they are not happy, from Mancho BBC carrying a coffin, rallying people, from Honorable Wiba moving from one part to the other to gather the people, from people using den guns to start fighting, and how it is evolving. Please, we know that the people of the Northwest and Southwest region have a problem. With that one, we are clear. And there's something that we must know. There is an Ambazonia problem, and there is the Southern Cameroon's problem.
Yeah.
That is the anglophone problem. We must not mix the two, because we know of the then Southern Cameroons, from the Southern Cameroon to West Cameroon. We know of that, and we did not know how Ambazonia came into play. I don't know whether somebody can sit somewhere, maybe on a panel like this, and explain to people, to Cameroonians, to you and an anglophone. My father was born as a Southern Cameroon. He lived in Southern Cameroon. He attended school, went to Nigeria, attended school. He joined the public service in West Cameroon, and he was later transferred to the United Republic of Cameroon, and later retired in La République du Cameroun. Those are facts. Those are facts that we know, all of us. But why should we keep killing people who you have learned them that no, you people should allow you to fight to protect you? You are now killing them, and now the government, for the government to create a DDR center and use our taxpayers' money to pay people who are not willing to even understand the other people. Are you telling me that when military, the forces of law and order arrive Guzang, people should jump into the bushes? What are you saying? They are all human beings, and most of them that are even coming, they are anglophones.
Okay. Yes, briefly.
Yeah, just to add something to what my brother Christian is saying. You know, it is true there is a big difference between the Ambazonian problem and the Anglophone problem. Because, you know, if your child comes back home and tells you that, Daddy, a nail has pierced my leg, and you feel like the child is naughty, you decide to slap the child. And in slapping the child faints. Now you take something to fan the child to regain consciousness. You are not solving the problem of the child. And it's going to take a very long time for that child to regain consciousness. And after the child has regained consciousness, we are going to be fighting with removing the nail, which is a real thing. And before you go to remove the nail, tetanus has come. So the anglophone problem has a tetanus effect called ambazonia.
Yeah, because it was when the leaders of the anglophone were arrested.
When they were arrested, that it gave
of January.
Remember, there is something that happened. At the time the consortium worked for peaceful negotiation settlement. At the time the consortium they were in Bamenda negotiating with the mission sent. Another minister was making a contrary statement. And they were for peaceful movement. Each time when they arrested the consortium who spoke with peace before Tapang Ivo, Mark Barretta and the rest handled the situation. At the time they were arresting Sisisiku, they knew he was the worst. Before, it was after the arrest of Sisisiku that the likes of Ayabacho came in who believe in force. And that is where we are today, because we are delaying to solve a problem we know, and by consequence we're inviting the problem we don't know. And it is difficult to solve a problem we don't know, because in basic studies, in order to solve a problem, you must first and foremost identify what the problem is. If not, you'll be solving something that will create a double effect, and that is what we are.
This one really say good morning, speaker, talking about the quarrel happenings in the so-called the liberation fight. I don't understand what is the achievement of this unlawful killing is coming from an anonymous sender. This one, right? Greetings to you, Jarvis, and all the panelists. The incident in Guzang is very disheartening to even think of it. The government has the solution to bring peace back to this country, but instead they are petting it. They are petting it. It is because the anglophone that are being killed on a daily basis, and most of the officials are amassing wealth for the crisis. Only God can redeem us. This is coming from Lord Derick from Bamenda. This around right, it says good morning to you. Good morning, Mr. Jarvis. From Tino from Yaoundé, I say Batibo Guzang is cursed. How can the people be so heartless? How can you kill someone and videotape it? Put yourself in the place of the children of these victims who were killed. I bet you that you will be sure fight to revenge in such a case. Do you think that we will come to an end? Do you think that you come to an end? No. This is someone writing, and this other one it says my brother from Boyo is speaking what the population need to know, but we would like to ask, what can we do to restore justice when injustice has become law in Cameroon? The government, the governors, the SDOs, DOs, mayor, in fact, the big guns will call the population to collaborate with the military, and when the population do, they turn their back. When the population do, they turn black legs. And on the other hand, the separatist leader will ask the population to collaborate with their voices, with their brothers, not voices, with their brothers. And when they do, they attempt black leg. Mr. Jarvis, I plead that there should be another dialogue coming from Gideon at the United Arab Emirates. This other right, it says, good afternoon, Jarvis. House of Commons is one of the best channels hitting hard on this anglophone crisis. More grace to you and your panelists. The Amber Boys are a nightmare to the anglophones. These guys are not fighting for anglophone, but for their selfish interests. Most of these guys are thieves and using the crisis as a means of any living. They get angry with anyone who criticizes their evil. They are backed by they attack them black leg and execute them without any remorse. This other right, it says Hello, good afternoon to you in the studio. This is a sad situation, but my question is, how did we get to this stage? The government is to be blamed. They were told not to allow the situation to get to this stage. What was their response? Everything is under control. This is the under control we are seeing. If the government wants this solution to end, today it will. We should be ready for the worst. God should help us. Ayon. This one right, it says, Emmanuel from Tico, good afternoon to you in the studio. To you, we were calling them our boys yesterday and today, the boys, and very soon the English speaking will deny them. So many messages. Somewhere reporting for Barim say, I stand against the fact that people lose their life just I stand against the fact that people lose their life like this. Just I think coming to the table to discuss a final solution, and we'll find both parties acting just the same way. We meddle of the in the middle of the town of people to view it. Another person is not alive. If another person is not alive, it's somewhere. Mr. Nji, let me come to you. I know you may not agree with my question, but I just have to ask it, and I have my own conviction to this. The same question I asked Tebong, the DDR center. If a fighter go and drop the weapon now, presumably the person who killed the two people in Dian, should the DDR center welcome them? And also, what has been done so far for the Indian fight, that we will have someone who said, I know where they were killed, who was part of that squad, went and showed where these other five were buried, the corpses were exhumed, and so on. No justice has been done so far.
Yes, I want to say this. It is always very important. If you look at the Rome statutes, what constitutes war crime is what your question is centers on. Now, those who have laid down their arms, those who are no longer fighting, they deserve to be protected. Now, I have always said that emotions have never solved a problem, and this is where many do not agree. Howbeit, it is because we put our emotions before our mind. And when you place your emotion before your mind, you will create more problems than solving them. Once someone lays down the arm, he's no longer a fighter. And such a person needs to be protected. If he or she is killed, it constitutes war crime. If you look at Article 8 of the Rome Statutes, you understand. If you go to Article 8, sub 6, I think, you understand what this is all about. And so it is only normal, like the guy who said, okay, this is where we buried the 6 divisional officers in Dian, and this is what we did to them. These are their bones and all whatnot. And some people felt like, oh, look at this guy, he ought to be killed. No, they should not be killed. Now, this is what I have to say. Jarvis, Article 8 still, within the Rome Statutes, what constitutes war crime is when you are endangering the lives of people who are protected, who are supposed to be protected, to take part in hostility. It's a war crime. And this is where it becomes very dicey for minds that are relatively very feeble, for gullible minds. We have gullible people in both camps. The SSF and the non-state armed groups have a relatively very gullible forces on the ground. And this is what makes it very difficult for some of these guys to comprehend these things. They don't know what I am talking about. Their superiors, in some cases, do not know. And that is why...
So all they understand is shoot.
Good. And that is why we need to educate them. There are colonels and commanders in Cameroon who do not understand what constitutes war crime, because it is not everything that they have taught them. Given that at the time the curriculum of our military institutions were being set up, a whole lot was not being considered. If you want to sample their minds, call some of these guys who are carrying these guns, be they SSF, be they the non-state armed groups or the SAC guys. They'll tell you they don't know exactly what is happening. And this is the reason why the commanders of such cases are the ones that they always send when things like this happen. Look at the guy who was sentenced to death in DRC. It is because the onus was on him to ensure that his forces on the ground do the right thing that should not contravene the law that is in place. Every single thing you see has a law guiding it. Now, war is a right. That is why when it happens, there is what you call crime in war. It sounds like one crazy thing, but that's a fact. When there is a war, you have the right to go to war, provided you know why you're going to war. And when you're starting a war, you should be able to identify war crimes and educate your combatants so that they do not go to the field and perpetuate war crimes. Now, when you look at Russia, for example, when Russia decided to remove children from eastern Ukraine to Russia for safety, that is war crime. You do not forcefully carry people away from where they want to be to where you want because you want to carry out a war. So those are war crimes. Now, coming back to one other thing which I want the people to see, because it is very important. Our essence is that we should know exactly what is on the ground. You need to know what you have to do. Now, like we said, since the population, especially in Cameroon, we hear a lot that civil-military relationship, we have to boost it.
Civil-military cooperation.
Yes, we talk about civil and military cooperation. We say it the way we say it. In times of war, it is not needed. The authorities know exactly what I'm talking about. In times of war, it is not needed. Why is it not needed? Now, you do not force someone whom you have to protect to take part in hostility. And this is what has been happening, where you hear they'll tell the people, cooperate, tell the military where the boys are, tell the people where the boys are. And that is why I said I will be speaking constitutionally. I want the people to see that the things we have signed, the things we say that they are the things that we want to do, we have to do them with understanding. So when we tell the people that, no, when you see Amber, tell us. Let me give you a story. In 2018, I was at gunpoint by the SSF, the State Security Forces, in my own area, for one reason. They came, we had a small meeting. Then I was preparing the ground to see why children have to go to school. As keen and as passionate as I am to ensure that children go to school, this I will not trade it for anything. And I said, if I should be a civil society leader, if I should be a human rights defender, that one who is very determined to protect children, then no matter what, I will not trade this for anything. When I had a meeting with some parents where I was talking to them, telling them the need for children to go to school, suddenly the military came over and said, where are they? It's on passe ici, le Amba. Then I said, what responsibility do I have? I am in a meeting. I don't even know what you're doing. All I heard was gunshot. They said, why did you not run when the others were running? I said, why should I get up and I'm running when I know that you, the state security forces, you are charged to protect me? Are you saying that when I see you coming, I should run? It was something else. So the point is, we have to understand. That is why I said in my introduction that the unarmed communities in times of hostility is not a part to hostility and should not be compelled or forced to take part in hostility, because they are supposed to be protected. And when you push them to start telling you, like the Amber boys will come and say, tell us you are relating with the military, you are having sex with the military, you are cooperating with the military, when they come here you give them this, and when they come, like we see the case in Guzang, that is war crime on the part of the Amber people and their commanders. I am sorry, you will be dragged to court, you will be convicted, and some of you will have life imprisonment. I tell you the truth, America is not a safe place. To think that because you are in America. And I will be speaking and saying this to Cho Ayaba, because he purports himself to be the major commander on the ground with regards to this. And I want to say that when you tell the children to go and kill people whom you say you want to protect, let me ask you a question. My brother Song Derick asked a very pertinent question. The Anglo-Saxon system we talk about says the onus is on the accused, or rather the person who is accusing you, to prove to you that you are guilty. This is the beauty of the system which we are talking about. So it is not in the two persons you kill to prove to you that they are cooperating with the rapid battalion intervention forces in that area. It is on you, the Amber person, to prove to him by maybe bringing facts to him that on this day you gave him food, on this day you gave him water, on this day you told him that this is where I am, on this day, and you should give him the opportunity to hear, or you take him in as a prisoner of war, because since you have already identified him as being part of the military for what you say he is doing, the onus is on you to take him in as a prisoner of war, then keep him to have your fact, but not to lynch him.
This is the normal. This is the normal. Now my question comes back to the Jan 6 song that raised it.
Yeah.
There was a young man who led the delegation to for the body to be exhumed, the bodies, and they were exhumed.
Yeah.
He was sent to the digital center.
Yeah, I would love to speak on that.
Now, we keep having people of carrying out such acts that we say it is the worst that has happened.
Yeah.
Being sent to the digital center.
Yeah.
Are we not giving green light to these people that as long as you can, the digital center is there for you?
Commit your crime.
As long as you do, we understand the fact of of amnesty.
Yeah.
But is there not also a time frame? How long shall we wait until this young man, like I asked you a question, if this young man get up and now go and drop the arms, will they not be received?
They will be received, and they have right to be received, and you have a duty to receive them. You have a duty to protect them,
and be after.
Now, where they have laid down their arms, as it is officially, once you make it officially that they have laid down their arms, and you are using them to go back to the field, now you are forcing them
to fight again.
So you now constitute war crime.
Yeah, because
in the process, by Article 8,
we see some of these ex-combatants doing Facebook Live, doing this, that. Is that what you are? Somebody?
Yes, all those who are doing Facebook Live and telling their former peers, as they put it in quote, that they have decamped and right now they are no longer into that they are having some goodies. Now, all what they are doing, they are fighting. They are fighters. Now, these are the people whom we call them within the law the militias.
Okay.
Good. They constitute the militias
within the army.
Within the army.
Yes.
So they are the militias.
That are so by the context of
no. They are militias.
I know. Excuse me. I don't want people to misconstrue us here. Yes. So we are talking from the basis of international law.
From the basis of international law.
I want this to be clear.
Yes, they are the militias. You get it? Because what is happening?
What we commonly define as state militias?
Yes, they are state militias. Now, why are they state militias? Now, they say they have laid down their arm, and they have been recruited to serve as a propaganda machine. Now, let me tell you, when StarSat, I think the company owned by Elon Musk, when she decided to provide internet
to Ukraine,
now she has joined the American forces to fight against Ukraine already. So he is a Ukrainian fighter by this. So he's already fighting because he is providing.
Benji,
yes. So when you look at this case, like your question goes,
yes,
that those who have laid down their arms and they have been caught and they are on Facebook now telling you this or saying that, which is happening.
When you say
now they are not being civil.
Yes,
take note. They are not being civil in it. Why they are combatants.
So it means that when they drop their arms, they are just supposed to lie.
When you lay down your arms, you do not have any other thing again to do.
They are not even supposed to be
with regards to that. So your amnesty is given to you because you are not taking part.
But some people argue that these are partners for peace, that they are calling for their peers to drop their arms.
Now the different, like I said, in times of war, the protected person should not be forced to take part in
But
hostility.
they don't force them now. That they are just
No, you don't get it. You don't get it. Now, should not be forced. Now, you know, when we talk about coercive means, we should know that we are talking about average force being exerted on you using some subtle means.
Okay.
And cunningness in it.
Okay, I will
to bring you to that position where you should cooperate.
We'll be coming back
towards
to you.
achieving
Let's
that.
get some music and get to Derick. Hello, Jarvis. This is Max from Germany. Max, thank you very much for reaching us. And happy Sunday to you, Max. We hope that the family is doing well. It says, as long as those in the DDR center still held hostage, it is a big indication that those from Yaoundé have no answer to the crisis. If the killers of Guzang drop their arms, how can they help the 8 orphans to cope? How can they help the 8 orphans to cope without their fathers? Condolence to Mr. Tebong. Greetings to you guys in the studio. This all right. It says, good day to you. Excuse me. Good day to everyone in the studio, in the panel. I salute you all. Happy Sunday to the people. Nice program for today, Mr. Jarvis. What I want to say concerning this issue, if the government not solving the problem concerning the crisis, or government not wanting to solve the problem, is that see, Mr. Jarvis, let me say this as it is without mixing words. The reason why this government is not willing to solve this problem the way it's supposed to be, and that will bring lasting peace to the country, is because there is something that Anglophones want, and everyone knows very well, and even the government knows very well, that thing is something that was stolen and taken by force from the Anglophones since from the day this government disappeared the two-state federation and forcefully united the two Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon. That is where the problem is, Mr. Jarvis. I will tell you, this is now a very strong term, that until the government comes to sit down with the people on real and genuine dialogue and give back the people rights in the form of two-state federation without strings attached to these killings, will never end. This is from an anonymous sender. But we are talking about Anglophone problem and Ambazonian problem. You are talking about the Anglophone problem. We are talking about why the killings. If is that the Anglophone problem? If you are killing people, is that the Anglophone problem? Under the guise of black, I'll be coming to you. Let me just take on some few messages. Good day to you guys in the studio, and special greeting to you, Senior Derick. Senior Derick, history taught me that we have Southern Cameroon and the Republic of Cameroon. So I don't know who came up with the name Ambazonia and started claiming they are leaders of Anglophones. Who made them the leaders of Anglophones? To be honest, Ambazonia is a terrorist organization. I saw some social media user encouraging those Amba fighters. Who are they fighting for? Who are they protecting, and under what state are they fighting for? Ayabacho is a terrorist, and it is high time the state of Cameroon evoke international terrorism law and indict him. I think that the sponsoring of terrorism by an individual in another country is against the Geneva Convention. The killing in Guzang was horrific and very disheartening. Rooney, writing from Brussels, Belgium. This other right, it says, good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis and panelists. I wish to find out from the guy who just said if someone drops his weapon and goes to the DDR center, he should not be prosecuted. Does it mean anyone can kill and run to the DDR center to surrender? Many people who are in the DDR center have not dropped their arms but have changed camp as they continue to fight in the field and on Facebook openly. So how can we qualify these people? Is coming from an anonymous sender. This other one, right, it says, good day, Jarvis. All the members of the House of Commons, first of all, we will all die in the northwest and southwest region. There's no way out for us. We have been blindfolded with the word separation. There will be no separation. Instead, we will keep dying. Anglophones killing Anglophones over what? Those who started this whole thing have their kids in comfortable environment. Their families are living well. This is what we brought upon ourselves. Anglophones executing Anglophones. The case of Guzang in Momo division, executing people in front of kids. What will these kids grow up to be in future? I think when the Bible said that the devil has come to kill and to destroy, it was talking about Amber. Amber is evil. Amber is the evil. Amber is the evil, and all those funding this war will not go unpunished. They will die by the sword. The blood of the Anglophone will certainly haunt them. The evil people in the nation. And let me tell you, Jarvis, Cameroon is one and indivisible. Honorable member of parliament in Kumba. Thank you very much, honorable member of parliament in Kumba. Song Derick, I want to ask you this question. It's sad that these people, he just made it clear that if you drop your arms, go down and don't talk. That if you join in the advocacy, you're part of the fighting. Now I want to ask you this question. If somebody, is it not because of this government tolerance of DDR center openness that is causing what we are experiencing today? Because should the government not give a deadline for people to drop their arms, or must people go and kill, go and repent?
Well, I will not want to say that the issue with DDR, after every war there is DDR. The problem we have here is the fact that the government does not know how to use the DDR. The government is using the DDR for propaganda. The government is using the DDR to fake reality. The government is using the DDR to make it seem as if things are okay. Let me say this, Jarvis. If you drop your arms and you go silent, I can tell you have dropped your arms. But if you drop your arms and every day you're on social media, we have heard the person of one Cameroon telling people that these terrorists should drop their arms. Last week I heard Shina Rambo, who was wherever he was, with using his phone and saying that, hey, you terrorists, drop your arm. You are speaking to yourself. He was speaking to himself about that. So this is my problem. I think no one has laid down the arms as we are talking now. No one has laid down arms. What they have done is they have simply changed camps. In fact, the people who were fighting and they have run to Nigeria or run out of the country, I can tell you that they have dropped their arms.
No more fighting.
But those who are in the GDR and every day, recently we were told that in Saw, someone who laid down the arm was in prison. He shot the prison attendant and ran away. To tell you that in people's mind, there is just so much. When they don't get their expectations, they can do anything. Remember that still in the DDR, there's rioting.
Yeah, we saw how they blocked the road in Boya.
There is rioting.
A couple of times
they have done that. So, but there's something we should accept here, that the sexual intercourse that gave birth to Ambazonia was arranged and desecrated in Yaoundé.
How was it arranged?
Yaoundé is the brainchild of Ambazonia.
How?
And they should take that responsibility, because we have made I made an analogy here to tell you that after we must have solved the Ambazonian problem, which is something that people are still to understand in its entirety, we will go back to the Anglophone problem, where as we speak now, we have not solved it 10%.
Yeah, but you said as we speak now, we have not solved it 10%. You said the government is the architect of the Ambazonian problem. But the government, on numerous occasions, have made it clear that Cameroon is one and indivisible. And let me give you some instances that which is clear. You talk about the fact that the government has not solved the anglophone problem, but the government says they have organized the Grand Measure National Dialogue. They have provided spatial status. They have redeployed teachers to their region of origin. They have recruited 1,000 bilingual science teachers, and don't ask me how that ended. And they are also, the government will also tell you that they have been able to talk to people to drop their arms. They have granted amnesty, and also they also tell you that ministerial appointments are now being Anglophones are now being given ministerial appointments on key localities, and also
Jarvis, I think
the independent consulators. Are those not concessions that the government of Cameroon has made?
Yeah, I want to just summarize that. So from what you are saying, the government has compensated us with a minister. For instance, the Minister of Territorial Administration is a compensation to us for what he is doing.
Talking about balance in leadership. They're talking about balance in leadership.
Jarvis, this is it. Love making is evolution. If you know that married couple, you can rape your wife, or a man can be raped. I don't know if that is possible in marriage.
Yes, of course you can rape
If it is possible, then the one and indivisibility of Cameroon should not be something that should be by force. It should be evolution. People should not be forced to stay. People should voluntarily live together. So if I want Cameroon to be one, let us live as one. It should not be the preaching of living as one, but it should be living as one, which should be a lifestyle, not a dogma imposed. If we need to stay as one, let us eat as one, let us reason as one, let us solve problems at once, not as a situation where people are forcing down decisions on other people's throat, whereas the issue about West Cameroon and La République du Cameroon, it's something you cannot deny the fact that the both of them exist. But this crisis still, Jarvis, there is somebody somewhere hiding who is enjoying the goodies of the crisis and doesn't want it to end. I will tell you without mincing words that there are some people that when they believe that this thing is getting a little silent, they decide to do provocation so that people get agitated again.
Now, briefly.
Please, let me just go down. Because if you go to Bamenda, for instance, if you leave Bamenda town, you are traveling to my village, Nsungkikang Fundong. If you pass the military checkpoint, ahead you have the voices. Somewhere after that, you still have the military checkpoint. So the military know where the voices are, and the voices know where the military are. But none of them is attacking. But guess what they are looking for? They are looking for their money. In a way that even on ghost town days, if a car passes, you don't settle the military as usual. You have to settle at a higher price because they remind you that today is a ghost town. Therefore, those people who are sent there, I heard a military official make a statement that si tu as envoyé au sud-ouest, au nord-ouest, et tu reviens, tu ne construis pas la maison, that means you will never construct a house again. If they send you there, you come back, you don't construct a house, you might never. So it has become a warpreneurship. People are using it to make money. People are using it to make gains. Whether it is from the amber section, or it is from the military section, or it is from the commanders.
A lot is happening within that, which is even a war crime, because you know appropriation is taking place.
Exactly.
And like you see in some communities where the non-state armed groups have taken over certain people's properties, including their farms,
their houses.
That is appropriation. It's war crime, and when the time will come, their commanders. Now, their commanders will be judged, sent to jail, because the interesting thing is this: they have persons in different areas who serve as their different commanders.
Okay.
And these commanders, they will pay for the crime which they are committing.
And Jarvis, anytime you are quoting the solutions provided by the government for the resolution of the Anglophone crisis, never you quote the dialogue, because 4 years after.
No, the dialogue is a continuous process.
No, that was not dialogue.
No, dialogue is a continuous process. Dialogue is not an event. It's a continuous process. That's how you are a conflict person. You know that there's what called the evaluation and the follow-up. And we have had different committees that keep following
Committees that don't work.
No, it's a process.
Give me one of the committees that are working.
It's a process.
No, give me one of the committees that is working.
But what is very sad is that the process is yielding no fruit.
No, when you say no, when you say yielding no fruit, I want us Cameroonians should not get us wrong. Maybe it may not be the desired fruit you are talking about, but there have been some fruits made so far.
Jarvis, let me say this.
No, there have been some fruits so far.
Yeah, Jarvis, please. Now, when you look at this, for example, there have been some fruits, and I'm happy there was an undertone, not the desired fruit. Now, what is happening, for example, we applaud the effort being committed on the ground to solve this crisis from the part of the government, especially the executive. However, the efforts are yielding no fruit towards solving the problem on the ground. And this is why I say, when you look at it, for example, look at all the institutions.
Okay, we are almost
it
out
is
of
good
time.
for us to know these things.
We are almost out
we
of
want
time.
to solve problems.
We are almost out of time. I get somebody sent a message and says we are doing amber propaganda. It's sad when people sit in their computer not following the program and also following. These are the people who are problem to this nation. Who are problem to the nation, because if you are following the program, we have directly condemned the killings and condemned also things that are done by the separatist fighters. And when you say we are doing amber propaganda, it tells us that you are a problem to the nation. And
these are the problems that
you
we
are part of the
on,
problem while we are facing in Cameroon, because My Media Prime is not a propaganda network, and we stand firm for objective journalism and also for education purpose. And that's why we are resolute. We function within the conformity of the law of our nation, and the law of our nation is responsible journalism. And when you sit at the comfort of your zone with just a 2 megabyte data, think that you can watch the effort we are putting in place to educate Cameroonians with different views. Why don't you come to TV and tell us your own vision, your own purpose? The numbers are always on your screen. And so I want to say this. I saw the message. I ought not have reacted, but I need to react. They are saying, same person, the other person who are saying that we are being bought by the government. What do you people want us to do? We are doing our job, and we must not do it in accordance to what you want it to be. And so let me take on just a few messages before we end the program. If the killing is still continuing today, it's because the government want it to continue. Many top officials and most offices are making money out of this senseless war. This is coming from an anonymous sender. This one says, please, the gentleman talking on behalf of the civil society should note that there is no war in Cameroon. The Ambazonian terrorism in Cameroon, and there should be any dialogue with terrorists. There shouldn't be any dialogue with terrorists. Terrorists all over the world are hunted and killed, period. Ayabacho is a terrorist, and all those terrorists abroad will pay one day. Those terrorists are fighting for who? For anglophones. They behead every day, and the gentleman in blue coat is simply using Amazonian terrorism to gain cheap political popularity. He is pretending that Amber sympathizer and supporter for the reason best known to him. Who is he undermining the grand measure national dialogue? I didn't see where Derick say he's speaking for Amber. Maybe you must have misconstrued him. And I also you did not get where Derick lambasted Amber. So when he talked against Amber, you were quiet. These are the things that we are talking about. We must be able to listen to people the way they are. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. Our TV is open for you. Who is there? Please, next week Sunday, book the rendezvous. It's free. You will talk. Your last word before we go.
Yes, my last word is that I will call on my peers, the people of Guzang village, to be calm. We know we have had this great loss. There's nobody that will accept such brutality on the people. We are not saying that the Anglophones do not have problems. All of us know, even state ministers the international community, they have been saying, you people have a problem, you should sit and talk. If just in a community we are not able to take people and dialogue with, then what type of dialogue do we want? If you had called those two of our brothers and dialogue with them and ask them questions, I believe that starts from there. We will know that, no, if there is something called dialogue, people can dialogue with you. I think that it is sad for all of us, people from Guzang, people from Batibo subdivision, the Mugamo people, the people from the Northwest, and the entire anglophone, to see that people are giving what we call open execution without listening to them, without asking questions, without even hearing from them. I think I will call on the Guzang people to be calm, and we allow everything. It's only God that knows why such things happen, and only God can take care of the situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucas, for coming.
Yes, thank you so much, Tah Mai Jarvis, and I want to take this as the ending. There is only one person in international law who has the right to call for an end to any conflict: the state and the government. The Amba people, we already know, they are looking at a certain state somewhere. It is also within the ambit of their right as per another law that talks about self-determination. Now, the state of Cameroon should endeavor. We call this socio-political crisis, where there is the lack of an objective political will to solve a problem. The problems will never end. The Amba people have their mind. The government has its mind. The unarmed civilians have their mind. So what is best for us to do is to evaluate: are we making gains? Have we made any? Do we intend making any, which is for the collective good? If you are making gains as an individual, beginning with you who is charged to protect the people on the ground, especially to those taxpayers' money is being used to cater for them. I'm talking about the state security forces. I cannot hold Amba accountable. There is an international instrument that we will localize it to hold them responsible. But the only person that can hold responsible is you, whom I use taxpayers' money, you whom we use taxpayers' money to pay you. It is your job. You have to do it. Civilians cannot fight armed persons. We should not lure our people to believe that they will go and they will have protection. Those things, please, they constitute war crimes. We know these things. It will not help us in any way, and we will not condone and support evil. Yes, Amba, to you, to your commanders, I want to call on the international community. I want to begin with the country where Cho Ayaba resides, Norway. If you have accepted Cho Ayaba to be a commander in your country, to command troops, sadly, what happened in Guzang, in his own division of origin, he hails from Momo, and I know he hails also from Batibo subdivision. It is very disheartening to see that such a massacre is taking place in a place where you say you are fighting to protect the people. And to those of you who are taking this active part in destroying the people, the government of Cameroon has her flaws, and I will never support the government of Cameroon when she goes wrong. I will tell them it is my right, and I will never support you who inflicts more pain on the people.
We're out of time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, and thank you for the million viewers and listeners for your contribution to Madame Ajaga Claudine. We thank you for following the program. And for those who think that we are doing cheap popularity, we are inviting you to come and do your own expensive popularity on studio. Don't sit behind your keyboard and talk.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday to you, Tajut. Happy birthday to you, Tajut. And thank you, Desmond. Thank you, Alan. Thanks to all those who took out time to produce this program. And until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you is that you stay out of trouble. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis, Cameroon's commercial capital, Fengu John Banget, Douala, Bonamusa. Bye-bye.